Huzzah, Rangers. This is Phil Harris again here at the Jacks Rangers show. I've got Dave McVeigh with me as always. We've got a very special guest this time around. We have Captain Canada, Josh Larsen of the New England Free Jacks. Josh, how the hell are you?
Hey guys, yeah, good. Thanks. Good to be back on the pod and the show. Looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. For the Rangers out there that may have missed your first appearance on the show, can you give us an overview of your rugby and personal background?
I grew up in New Zealand. Dad's from New Zealand, mum's from Canada. Obviously, growing up in New Zealand, rugby's the national game. Played, from bare feet, under sevens rugby all the way up to during university. Was fortunate to have a couple of seasons in Mitre 10, which is the provincial professional comp there, the one below Super Rugby. So I played for the Northern Taniwha and the Otago teams, and then I came over to the MLR and eventually landed with the Free Jacks up in Boston, and I haven't left since. So really loving it. Played some international rugby for Canada at the recent World Cup as well.
Okay, very nice. So, yeah, the internet connection here is a little wonky, so I'm going to try to just do the best that we can throughout the interview here. I know what you've been up to in the off season, so we've kind of had some banter back and forth with where you're coaching at and where I played rugby as a collegiate. So give us a rundown of what you're doing in the off season.
Yeah, so this off season I'm actually down in Phil's second favorite city, Clemson.
Yeah, I'm down with a city is very generous.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it shocked me and Sydney, my partner. It's just like came down here. It's a small university town. So I'm down in Clemson, South Carolina. I got an opportunity to come down here with Troy Hall, who's their head coach. He's a guy from New Zealand. He asked me what I was doing over the off season, sort of connected with him, and eventually landed a sort of assistant coach role, looking after the forwards down here with the Clemson Tiger rugby program. So, thoroughly enjoying it, Phil, and hopefully get one up on you boys this weekend. Actually, we're playing the Gamecocks, which is Phil's old stomping ground. So we'll be sending messages back and forth and a bit of banter, I'm sure.
Yes, my girlfriend said, be nice, so I will. Clem Sucks is very good. They're a very good program, and this game is going to be huge because anytime you get these rivals together, it doesn't matter if it's the debate club or if it's water polo, there will be blood. So these two teams do not like each other. So it's going to be a slobber knocker up there in Pickens County this weekend. So hopefully the Gamecocks win. We have a very great tradition of, a great program there at the University of South Carolina. So it should be interesting for sure. That was me being nice. All right.
All right. No, definitely. The rivalry's been something good. That's pretty nice.
All right. What made you decide to rejoin the Free Jacks for 2022?
Oh, yeah, just an easy decision really for me. Phil. Guys are just obviously being up there, establishing something from the start and continuing to see that grow year after year is obviously a no-brainer. Just really enjoy, obviously, what we're building up there. I think the excitement of Quincy and moving to Veterans Memorial Stadium and having that as a base for somewhere we can build. Obviously thoroughly enjoyed my year last year. The leadership roles and stuff is something I'm really passionate about and really want to continue to grow as a person as well. So yeah, just fit all the bills up there. Obviously Tom Kindley and co did a really good job around the coaching recruitment, because that was a bit of a shock, Ryan leaving, unfortunately, but we've replaced him with two very good coaches that I'm excited to work with as well. So when I sort of saw all that unfold and just loving Boston and my partner Sydney, born and raised in Oklahoma, then to Texas, moving up to Boston, she thoroughly loved it. So yeah, the place, the people, and obviously just the growth of the Free Jacks, and last and not least, obviously the fan base. Truly the best fan base in the MLR, and the interactions we have are more than any of my mates around any other teams or anything like that. And I think that's really cool. So that's part of the growth of the Free Jacks. And yeah, just want to take another step further, and just, easy decision really, Phil.
Sure. So you're in terms of caps, for the Free Jacks, you're number one, right? In terms of or the number one side, the whatever you want to call it, the first signing. You're the original Free Jack player. All right. So do you consider that historical significance at all? Like, do you ever stop and think, oh, this is going to go down in the record books and the history books?
To be honest, not really.
Really?
Or not at all, actually. I haven't really thought about it at all like that. I think I remember that first team, that first year, obviously ended up being struck by COVID. So there's a number of reasons why you remember it. But just that first team and the learning what we had to go through, being on the road for seven weeks at the start or whatever it was, and that first one against New York. I think that's what I'll eventually remember. I mean, I'm sure, to be honest, I guess when the MLR grows into something special, it's going to be cool to be in that inaugural team, I'm sure. But the number one, or was it 33 players that year or whatever it was, I think it's just going to be cool to be a part of that. So, not overly, mate.
So you kind of touched on it a little bit here in terms of, what is your overall thoughts of the Free Jacks' first full season last season?
Great. Honestly, really good. Obviously, first, foremost, I think I probably spoke to you previous year, my first year, obviously shot with COVID. I mean, Josh Smith and Kareem, Fifi, they did a great job. They really did. Came in, their local coaches, growing their knowledge and that, and they're very open to that thing. But, getting Ryan in there and established as a really high IQ, innovative coach. Obviously worked with him before, but I mean, now he's at Super Rugby level. He was a guy who I think really helped, shape and turn the club for the better. He really brought guys over. He had relationships, and he sort of developed a style of play that I think you'll see continue for the Free Jacks, which is very hard nose, nose cross face, very very direct, but also the ability to spin it wide. And very innovative. So I think that was a great first start. Obviously the coaching and around that, and developing the skills and stuff, and seeing some young players get a go, seeing like Quinton Newcomer by the end of the year really excelling, and that some of these local players, the Eagle, and then also seeing some new players develop. So I think overall it was a really good year. We had a lot of young players as well, not too many older heads in the team and stuff. So, there's a lot of, I think turnovers can be, pretty similar. Obviously year to year, there's going to be a lot of turnover, but I think, overall he did a really good job in that recruitment, and also Tom Kindly and stuff. But it also taught us about, the need probably to move to one area and make it ourselves. Hence Quincy, I think that was a real excitement to play that last match in Quincy. So I think just sort of learning about, chopping and changing all over the place, it's best to have a base around Quincy and being boys living out there and making that our real home and stuff. So obviously from there, then we got a base to go out to the rest of New England and stuff. So I think we learned a lot about that. And then, again, just the travel factor at the start of the year, that was always a big thing. I guess we learned a lot from the previous year, the first year, about, just making sure as a team in terms of our goals and as players what we want to achieve in that first, because that's not going to change as long as, the comp starting in February, we're not playing games in Boston. So I think we learned on that. And I think that the biggest growth we had between the first game and the last game was just how we did our away trips, what our mindset was, how do we have to make sure players are comfortable, because went over to LA twice. It's a 6.5 hour flight. Some of these boys, it's the longest travel they've done in their lifetime probably. So I think there's a good learnings about that. So, it's prepped us, everything from a logistical standpoint for the guys this year coming in is going to be a lot more easier or used to. So I think it's ultimately the growth of the group. Just massive since last year.
Very nice. Very nice. Look, I know that you can't really speak on the signings that have yet to be announced for the Free Jacks. But what about the signings that have been made or the players that have been retained? What's your feelings about the squad so far for next year?
Yeah, very good. Obviously, the recent signing sorry, it's bad for me. His last name was Vander.
Oh, Vanderbank.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I haven't met him personally and stuff, but he looks like a sharp. Again, the youth coming through. I'm excited about that. I talk to Tom a lot about this kindly. It's one way we can go about it. We can, you can get some old guys over that, might pack a few bums in the seats because they know them, or you get a guy who's enthusiastic with either a young family or a young wife or something that really wants to experience Boston. And that's what we're about, the Free Jacks and stuff. So, that innovative sort of feel. So having these youngster guys, great to see. I already mentioned Quinton back in the frame. He's in for a big year. I think he's someone who could really be knocking on USA sort of looks like that. So, I'm really happy. I think it's taking shape. Obviously, you can't really spill the beans on a couple others, but, I think guys who, the whole Free Jacks fan base is going to be pretty excited. And I am, like I said, a lot of youth, a lot of excitement, people that want to be here. And that's the main thing.
Awesome. So we're going to let Dave take it over for a minute here. He grew up a Tennessee Vols fan. So, Josh,
oh, no.
Yeah,
that's true. Getting in the Southern University sports rivalry.
yeah.
But yes, just a hate triangle really is all we have going. No love lost between those three schools.
The rivalries are amazing, don't you? They do it well.
Yeah. So do you have any goals on or off the field for your next full season in Boston?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I haven't thought about specific goals, individually as a team as of yet. I guess just coming into preseason, there'll be a bit of a focus, something that's really achievable and want to do. But not overly, mate. I think it's just taking a step further at this. It's a broad thing to say, what does that look like? But I think that's really, as a team base, is establishing ourselves in Quincy. I think that's very important. So like logistically for our players and stuff, making sure we're comfortable, and then we go on and put the best product on the field for the fans and for ourselves to win games and ultimately win that championship, which is what we're wanting to do. So I think in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. What that looks like, we break it down. It could be, making sure we win so many games on the road because we know we've got a home stretch that we get excited for. So, that could be like a little bit of a micro goal as such or something. But the specifics, I haven't really gone into it, but it'll look something like that, I'd say, as a team. Obviously, personally, the Canadian results, unfortunately, I was injured. But ultimately, the World Cup is now's not as a no-go. So yeah, to be honest, that was the main goal, is to try to be amongst a World Cup squad again for the 23 in France. Obviously, that's no longer available. So, but for me, I think that gives an opportunity. I've thought about it. I've talked to a lot of people. It's been a pretty tough couple of weeks for Canadian rugby, but ultimately in the long run, this is an opportunity to really build something and really see what the cracks were wrong, so those mistakes don't happen again for future generations and stuff. Because there's a lot of good rugby people in Canada and stuff. So a lot of good rugby clubs and that will be devastated. So I hope whatever the situation is with who we're working with or the structure of Rugby Canada, I think as a player is just to make sure that that's back to where it should be. So that would be a real focus of mine. And obviously that's individual playing effort, that's being a good character for Canadian rugby on that side. So yeah, those are probably the two sort of wider areas. I mean, that's very broad, but that's what I'm establishing Rugby Canada, back to where it is. And then obviously making Quincy and the Free Jacks a formidable force, and hopefully raising that shield at the end of the year.
Excellent. Yeah. And for fans who might not be that familiar with international landscape, Canada has traditionally been the top team in North America. Historically, when you take a long view, they've really performed really well. So not making the World Cup for the first time was a big shock for, I'm sure, players and fans as well. So I know there'll be a lot of eager Canadians looking to see you accomplish that goal.
Yeah.
So you've earned a reputation as a workhorse on the field. It's one of the reasons you're captain, I'm sure. But a lot of the work of a lock is stuff that's kind of taken for granted, things you're kind of supposed to do 100% of the time. A line out take, win your own ball at the scrum, secure in the ruck. And so it can be difficult for fans to see players who are standing out in those areas sometimes. You kind of make yourself known around the field a little bit. But is there anybody on the team that you think has maybe slipped under the fans' radar, somebody who's a workhorse, maybe in practice, or on the field that you just kind of want to give a shout out to?
Just off the top of my head, who was a guy last year for me who really came in, Justin Johnson. He was a guy who came in last year, and he draft pick. It's easy for, I guess, young guys get to the head and stuff, or try and make fancy plays and stuff. He was anything but that. He was a guy who just put his head down and worked really hard. And I think as a leader in the team and stuff, to have our young guys with that attitude, sort of be the guy to just, head down, bum up, get to work and stuff. And then as he flourishes, start to open up, and as he becomes more experienced, and his growth, obviously from the start of the season, when I first met him off the plane until the end of the season, was unbelievable. And I think he is just selected in that USA Select squad. So he was someone I was really impressed with. And again, just a really good guy, very humble, hardworking, the sort of Minuteman mentality we had last year. So he's a guy, probably a real big shout out. And again, I've mentioned him a couple of times, but obviously Quinton, I think a guy who's just sort of stuck at it. A guy like that didn't have really a lot of opportunity at the start, but I think he's really found his mojo as such, and he's very confident going into next year, and he should be. He's a beast in the gym. And originally he's probably quite raw on the rugby field, but he's got a pretty bright future, and you're seeing a lot of props play till they're quite older these days. So I think the need for that, he was someone who I was really impressed with by the end of the year as well. So those are probably a couple that just spring to mind. Obviously the usuals we know, but they were some guys who, perseverance and just had the right attitude, and was just really good for our team.
Yeah, that's great. He certainly seemed to really just improve match after match through the season, both of them. But as a prop, I paid more attention to the front row sometimes. So Quentin especially really stood out.
Yeah,
they both have, I think, a really high ceiling.
Yeah, I agree.
You have said that you like to get a nice cup of coffee as part of your pre-match ritual. So what is your favorite place to get a cup of coffee when you're on the road? So you can't say Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, no. I wouldn't drink Dunkin' Donuts as it is, Dave. I mean, I'm joking. I shouldn't say that, actually. I shouldn't say that.
You'll make a few people mad. But most Bostonians know it's nothing special. It's just, really, it's just the drugs. That's why you drink the Dunkin' Donuts. It's just for the caffeine.
Yeah. Donuts probably all right. But no. I guess, you could call me a little bit of a coffee snob. But, if I'm on the road, it's quite fun. We got a bit of a, Mitch Wilson in that. He's another guy. There's a few others in there, but we sort of get a bit of a chat going, and we'll probably just survey the place and try find a good, just a good coffee house or espresso. So, they serve a good flat white or, a sort of cortado. We'll just bear it up and try to go small business, sort of like one that looks pretty local and, a bit trendy and stuff. That's probably my go-to. But heck, if I guess worst comes to worst, I have to run into the room and make a hotel coffee. I guess it's not the best, but that sometimes has to do. But we'll look just for a little cafe, something local that does a good shot of espresso, and that ticks all the boxes, man.
That's good. My go-to, I was a barista for many years ago. Yeah. So my go-to is definitely just to get a nice double shot and drink it down. And then that tells you, for me, it tells you a lot of what you need to know about whether you're going to come back or not.
yeah, exactly. That really does.
You mentioned the new coaching staff briefly. What are your first or maybe first impressions of Scott Matthew and Mike Rogers? Did you play a plenty side when you were playing for Otago?
I would have definitely. He would have been the assistant coach when he was there. Obviously, I've never met him personally, but I'm excited. I think what he'll bring that I'm excited as a forward, as a lock, is around the contact area. Obviously, Ryan Martin last year being a main attack coach, James Willock's did a great job around that. So I'm just excited to continue to build on that. And he just brings a different outlook, very aggressive, it sounds, off the line in terms of defence. And, that mentality where we're defending to attack, we want the ball back. So I'm super excited. James had that mentality. I've worked with other coaches that have that mentality rather than a real soft approach on defence where you defend multiple phases. It's more aggressive from what it sounds like. And for me, I felt that made me a better player and just a better forward getting off the line. So I'm really excited to work with him. I know a few boys that have obviously worked. Joe has worked with him. Liam Steele in the first year, who was with us, he worked with them and Bay plenty, and they all had really good things to say. So, yeah, very excited to build that relationship and see what we can do defensively and as a forward pack this year. And then Scott, great guy. He had a chat with him actually recently. Just got to know him a bit more, and he reached out. And, yeah, just a real good guy, family man. I think what I'm excited about him, again, he's one of these coaches, like Ryan, like guys have been with who, and Tom Kindly and the Free Jacks were really big into that. Mags was trying to get these coaches that, that want to continue to grow themselves. And they're very innovative and they're not just doing the same old stuff that they did 10 years ago with a really good team when they were young. They're younger at their core, so they're bringing that to the Free Jacks. And honestly, I really think that's the difference. And that's the difference between us having really good coaches and probably other teams that are getting, coaches that have coached at a higher level probably, but just bringing that, 10 years back later into the MLR, as you say. So I love that idea of having a younger coach, really enthusiastic, young family, great guy, culture driven, all those things. So yeah, he was awesome to talk to. So really excited.
Excellent. That's great. I couldn't agree more about young coaches and young players. I think that there's, a temptation, like you kind of mentioned, to bring in people who are going to get some press, because of the signing, or put butts in the seats, like you said.
Yeah.
But the real path to growth and to improving year over year, yeah, I think is the young, hungry, hardworking savages.
Yeah. I fully agree. I mean, I think you see them perform. I think they do. They're hungry. They're eager. Like you said, they're not here on holiday at all. They're here to work, and they're here to enjoy themselves. And that's all part of it. Enjoy yourself, but want to play well and either push on to higher things or really grow something here and stuff. But I mean, the league's at its. I mean, this thing now is the league's at a stage. It's a very good competition. They're very good players, and a lot of the teams here would beat a lot of other international competition teams. At that sort of level, domestic level. So I think I guess in my first year is more like the growth of it. It's well on its way. It's really good. Obviously, there's a lot more being in America, not only on the field commercially and stuff, but it's at a really good level, and I think it's trajecting really well. And when these younger guys come over, they've had recent experience or still just getting into a higher level of rugby. They seem to time and time again prove people that they're excited and they want to be here and stuff. And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you see it in how many victories you guys had kind of in the second half. Is really where that shows up, that capacity for work and the desire for work. So it was made for a really fun season, and I'm looking forward to seeing more. That's it for my questions. I really appreciate you talking to us, Josh.
No worries.
All right. So just wanted to open up the floor, Josh, to speak directly to the Rangers out there, the Free Jacks fans. What do you got to say?
What I got to say is that obviously super pumped to be back. I think in the coming weeks you're going to see, the growth of the Free Jacks from last year to this year with, both on the field player signings as well as, off the field in terms of location and where the boys are going to be around and stuff. It's an exciting time to be a Free Jack fan. It really is. Red Sox are playing actually really currently, so I'll dip off and watch that soon. So, if you're a Boston sports fan, you're in a good place. And I think Quincy is going to be a real game changer for us. I really do. I think being around that, whether you're from close to Quincy or you're out up in Portland or around everywhere, it's a base where we can come home, we call home, and it's going to be there for the future for a while yet. So I think that just, gives our fans direction. It gives us clarity as players, what we're building. It's going to be a really good professional outfit. But I think what you're going to see is a real entertaining product on the field. So, new to rugby, experienced to rugby, I think should get out there for that first home match and give it heaps of voice and stuff, and truly become, those best fans in the MLR, which we know you guys are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, we've had a lot of internationals on the show the past couple weeks. So can you give us your best Boston or American accent?
Oh gosh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, Hey Jerry, where are you from? I don't even know. Hey Jerry, what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't even know what that is.
That's pretty good. Hey Jerry is definitely a good start.
I feel like, I don't know. Jerry. Hey, you look down the corner of block 42 in the corner of 42nd, eh? I don't know. I don't even know.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
we've heard worse on this show for sure.
Definitely. We've made some guests very uncomfortable with that question. So
yeah, I've heard a couple. I think I'll have to touch up on it again. It's been in the South currently, so I'll have to touch up on that Boston accent, and we'll do it again next time.
So before we get to one word association here, just a prediction for the game this weekend.
I'm gonna have to shoot off now, guys. I think. The game this weekend, Gamecocks. To be honest, obviously the thing we came off a tough loss to the old Tennessee Vols, so that's pretty tough. First loss of the season. Fun to just throw that in there, but no, we got a pretty good squad. We're excited to see what they're about. I hear they've got like a coach, a newer coach. A coach show that's just a bit more established there now. And stuff. So I think they're trying to really grow their program. So hopefully keep that rivalry around, and hopefully for Clemson we're up, let's say 32-14 bonus point win. But we respect the Gamecocks.
Cox by 90 is my prediction here, and our coach is John Roberts, who's a multi-national champion at the collegiate level. So good luck with that. No, it should be a good game. Clemson is very good. They've got a great program up there, but Cox by 90. And just for the players, if any Gamecock players out there are watching this show, just as a former player and alumni of the University of South Carolina, just giving you directions on how to get to Clemson: north until you smell it and west until you step in it. All right. So people that have no idea what we're talking about are just like, what is going on right now? Yeah. So final thing here, one word association. We're pretty famous for this at this point. I'll say one word or a couple words, and first thing that pops in your mind, let us know. All right. Free Jacks.
Family.
Canada.
Strong.
All right. Woodgie.
Scary. only because my partner, girlfriend Sydney, she finds him pretty scary. But it's probably
my 4-year-old would agree. She just screamed and grabbed my leg when he went for a high five at my insistence. Would you come over here?
Terrifying. Speech, especially if it's scary. Kids love them though.
Boston.
Historic.
All right. Final one here is the University of South Carolina fighting Gamecocks.
Who?
That's fantastic. We are the 2-time champions, by the way. We've been in the finals 5 times out of 9. So just all right.
We're respecting them. We're respecting them, but you know what it's like after a good team. After they lose, how they respond big. So big training tomorrow night. We'll be ready. Don't you worry.
Yeah, it's going to be the most physical game that you guys will experience all year. I'm sure this is the way the rivalry is. I don't remember who we played my junior year or in week 3 or whatever, but I remember clearing out a ruck against a Clemson player. I'll always remember that. So great rivalry. Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty, boys. This has been a fun one. Josh, thank you so much. You're very gracious with your time, very professional. We appreciate you so much.
No worries, guys. No, I appreciate it, Bill, Dave. Awesome work you guys are doing, and sure we'll see you guys back on soon.
All right, we'll say huzzah to get out of here. 3, 2, 1. Huzzah.
Huzzah.